Okay, in this problem, we're going to look at another video example of how to use the quadratic formula. So number one, always make sure it's equal to 0. So in this problem, it already is. The next step is to identify your A, your B, and your C. So in this case, A is 3, B is -8, and C is 7. And then I'm going to write down that quadratic formula. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I'm going to substitute in my values. Be careful of what you're substituting in. Always use parentheses. So the formula starts at negative sign, but then b is also -8. So it's very important we're using these parentheses. So -8 squared minus 4 times 3 times 7 all over 2 times 3. And then from here we just start simplifying. So the minus and -8 makes +8. The square root, if you're using a calculator, make sure you're using those parentheses. Otherwise, sometimes it likes to be a little finicky when you're square rooting or squaring negative numbers. Sometimes it doesn't do that correctly. So type just this part in your calculator. It comes out -20. And then the bottom 2 times 3 is 6. Again, 20 is not a prime number, so we're going to reduce it down to primes, and I get a pair of 2's. Now I notice this one's also a negative in the square root, so that tells me my answer will also be imaginary. So look at how that gets written. You go 2, and then you put the I, and then the 5 didn't have a match, so it stays inside the square root sign all over 6. So notice how that looks. It's 8 plus or minus 2i square root of 5 over 6. Then we're going to look for that trifecta again. So these numbers can all be divided by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that would leave me 1i. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. Again, don't mess with the square root of 5, because square root of 5 divided by 2 is going to be some really crazy decimal. This is fine. If you want, you can drop that 1, and you can write them as 2 separate solutions as well. But this tells me my answers are imaginary. That means that the graph does not cross the x-axis when you're graphing this problem.